Good morning, everyone. It's Miss T. I am hoping that everyone had a good night, rested well, woke up this morning, had spent time with the Lord, thanked Him for all His many blessings, and for waking you up this morning. And I hope that you are ready for your day. Today, what I wanted to talk about was signs of the times. And a lot of people, most people do know that whether you're whatever religion you are, people have heard about what signs will happen, what the signs we will see before Jesus' second coming. And we've seen a lot of them, throughout the years, but they just weren't put together. Like, we might have had a terrible disaster that happened in 1957, or we might have had a war, like World One. But if you look into the Bible, and then you take a look around how you're living today, you can see that these signs are just coming back to back, one after the other. We continuously stay in wars. Countries are continuously talking about wars. They're trying to either calm wars down or try to compromise some of the things to stop the wars. But it's always each world country is always in a conflict with something. No one is ever coming together. You never see any of them all on the same platform shaking hands, or saying we're going to end all the wars and all the violence and that's not gonna happen. So, of course, if you are taking heed of all the different things that are happening, you know that that it's getting close to time. But what I wanted to focus on was not focus on, I just wanted to go through a little bit of the list. And so we do have wars and rumors of wars. We've had natural disasters. We have famine, moral decay, which would be no one has any. It's like no one has any pride or respect anymore. Just like, back in the day, there was different things. You had to be dressed. When you were dressed, you had to be covered up. If you went to church, you had to have on a slip. We had to act a certain way and talk a certain way, and that was that. There was TV shows that wouldn't even allow you to see, even though that they were married on the show, they didn't even allow you to see them in the same bed. They would have separate beds. They never allowed them to show their wrists or their neck. Your body parts had to be covered, and this was moral because of the morals and values that we had. And as the world has been getting worse and worse, those morals are gone. You can watch a commercial and the people in the commercial can be naked. So moral decay is just like there is anything goes. They allowed Kanye West's wife to stand on the red carpet naked. Nobody arrested her. Nobody um, move them off stage. This is the normalcy. And that's we have rotted our brains with so much indecency that it's just normal. It's just normal, and that's what we do. Um, we have false prophets. We've talked about those people who get out and say that they're preaching for God or Jesus when they're really doing it for themselves to gain money, power, women. There's been so many stories about pastors who have been caught in compromising positions with men, women, whatever, you name it. People who have decaying minds think of depraved things to do and to show other people laying down with animals, and there's a market for this. So it's so you can make money. There are diseases that are spreading rampantly because people don't see a need to stop what they're doing. I mean, if you have diseases out here that will take your life eventually, or give you something that you can get rid of, you would think people would either stop what they're doing or be more careful. But the rise has gone up. People seem to think, they can get treated or become undetectable, and that's like not having it at all or whatever. And that has to be a moral decline of your brain. Who in the right mind would feel like having sex is worth being sick for the rest of your life? That doesn't sound like a person who's in their right mind. We have markets for all kinds of different kind of movies, for entertainment or whatever. It seems like everything that is immoral, that people are focused on, that is immoral, has something to do with sex. I don't care if it's sex with people, animals, whatever. They think of all kinds of ways to do this, and I don't know if they put sex with demonic, if that goes together. I don't know, but it always seems to be in the picture. People are trying to be as dark as possible. They're trying to enter some whatever they think is evil space is out there. They're trying to find it, trying to get deeper and deeper into the evil, because I guess the more evil you are, the more power you have. I guess I can't even I can't even wrap my head around what people who have these thoughts are thinking about. There's going to be signs in this heaven. So God, the Bible tells us that the sun is going to change its color or change its brightness, and its stars are going to, which we've had falling stars, we've seen falling stars, or we've been told we've seen falling stars. But stars are going to fall out of the heaven. The moon is going to probably not come in, go out as it normally should. It might not even, we just might see different, the days looking different. And then we have, the people are, what the moral decay is, the lawlessness means people are going to take things into their own hands. They're not going to wait until a person is arrested and tried and convicted. They're going to take things into their own hands, and just like we just seen right now. Now, what did I left that for last because I wanted to discuss that. I know some people are not going to understand or be on the same side of what I'm saying, and that's fine. But what I wanted to say was the Bible does talk about Christians being persecuted. And it doesn't say Christians who are correct or Christian, because people have all kinds of Christian, standards or beliefs or whatever, and some of them may be true and some of them may not be true. So we all know that God is love, and he doesn't stand for any type of violence, any type of harm towards anyone whatsoever. But people when you mix politics and religion together, it's not a good mixture, because those are two different things. So you can't say you love the Lord but say that black people need to maybe black people need to be continued to be shot, every year to protect our First Amendment or Second Amendment rights. You can't be a Christian, you can't love God and make those type of statements. But in your mind, it's okay to say, because that's what you believe. That's how you see it. So they were discussing Charles and some of the lectures that he gives, some of the statements that he's made. And in his mind, I believe he thinks that all of the evil and the danger comes from people of color who have been deemed the what is the word, the disaster or the bad seed of the country. When you hear about shootings, and I'm going to say certain shootings, and when you hear about robberies and different things, they always put this with black people. That's going to be the main, they're tearing up our communities. They're scaring people. People can't live their lives. And so I think he's going by the past, what was taught in the past. Right now, crime does not have a color, does not have a gender. It doesn't have anything. Crime can be done by anyone. all colors of people are shooting at, you know, doing shootings. All colors of people are robbing and kidnapping and stealing and everything else. So what they're focusing mainly is to lower those type of crimes. They want to just push up gang violence because they're, you know, mainly it's our color people who are indulging in that type of you know, thing is gang violence. And that's why they want to start sending out the military to handle states that don't have, well, they're saying the governor doesn't have control over their people. So they want to start, you know, going in and taking over. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know what their agenda is. I don't even know what their protocol is if they see them, what are they going to arrest them? Are they going to have, I don't know. And I don't want to speculate on what is going to be going on. But people have been, what I have noticed, that the most angry, most bitter, and just have no respect. What they believe in is what they believe in, and if you go against them, they'll go to no ends to protect that. And that is transgender people. I don't even know if I don't even know if they're all together, but it seems to be transgender people. You see them in rallies and you see them marching, and you see the violence when people are trying to, you know, debate what go against them. They spit at them, throw bottles. I mean, they're violent. And if you believe in something, you don't have to resort to violence to get your point across. Now, what they're telling me was his last words were, they were talking about mass shootings by transgender people. And that's when he was shot. And just so happened that they're telling us now that the shooter lived with his transgender partner, and that may be the motive. But how ironic was the question, the last question that was asked of him before he was shot was mass shootings by transgender people. So was that I don't know, because that's usually not a question I would think comes up. Is there a lot of mass shootings by transgender people going on? I don't know. But was that, I don't know. I guess maybe the person who asked the question, they should maybe question him, because it doesn't seem like to me that was a coincidence. That happened right when he was going, answering that question. But when you feel something is, when you believe in something and you believe it in your heart, regardless if it might be wrong, right or wrong, you're going to stand behind that, and you're going to do whatever you must do to protect that. So if this man believed the things that he was saying, and he believes that the world is being corrupted because people are turning away from God and causing all the problems, in his mind, he's a Christian. And the Bible says Christians will be persecuted close to the end of the world. They don't want people who want to continue to live the life that they're living or do what they're wanting to do. They don't want to hear about God, and they don't want to hear about what is going to come if you don't change your life or turn away from the bad things. They don't want to know what the end is going to be. And so in order for them not to have to even deal with that, they try to eliminate those who are spreading the word, because it also says that there will be an abundance of people getting out there and spreading the word, because Christians know that Jesus is not going to return until everyone has heard the word. So those who are getting out and trying to do that, because these are the people, it also says that people are want to hasten the coming of Jesus Christ. They, they're waiting for their reward. They're waiting for to be taken away from this horrible world. And so in order for them to do that, everyone has to hear the word. So they're going to hasten the word. They're going to get out and talk more. They're going to find a way to get their broadcast out, to reach more people, to have more people on the street, or however that they can get the message out. That's what they're doing. And so the people who do not, because people have to know that there is something going on, even if you don't believe that there is a God. You have to know that there is something that is happening. If you don't want to pick up the Bible and you don't want to read it, it's because you're in fear of finding out the truth. That's not going to save you. So you can't say, I didn't know, I wasn't told. You chose not to want to know, because that's not going to save you. Just because you don't hear it, because you refuse to hear it, doesn't mean that you are saved because of ignorance or not knowing the truth, because you have an opportunity. Everyone has an opportunity to know the truth. Everyone has the opportunity. You have an opportunity at your hands every single day. You have an opportunity to speak to the Lord every single day. If you choose not to, you're sealing your fate. There's not going to be there's not going to be any kind of help for you. I mean, you can't play innocent because of ignorance. That's just not going to be your defense. So we need to read the Bible constantly, stay in the Word, have a daily talk with the Lord. Ask Him what it is that you need to change, that you need to improve on your walk with the Lord. Some people don't, they take some things and they're not, because everybody was not raised in the same way, and the church, they were not taught the same things in the church. But as you get older and you're able to find out information, then you can, understand what you need to know. And you can tell that that the world is just disintegrating. That if you go out into the streets, how many people are on the corner handing out baskets of food or Bibles or any kind of information on Jesus, versus people on the other side selling, perfume, clothes, shoes, or whatever. And our priorities is money making. Money is, if you want to make it in life, you have to have money. And if you don't have money, you're nobody. So you continuously get that beat in your head. You continuously feel like you're nobody because you live a little bit below or a little bit above, and society tells you that you're nobody. But God has never said you were nobody. God did not put out the rules. He did not say that because you don't make $100,000 to $900,000 a year that you're nobody. You can make that money and still be nobody. Because when you find out that people have taken most of their life to build those things, to get that type of money, once they get there, they're still not happy. It's not what, and then you'll find out it's not what you acquire, it's how you feel about yourself inside. I know there are people who are evil and just evil, and you can't, and there's no changing that. There's no changing that. But I know that there are people who are bad people, but they still have a little bit of consciousness or a little bit of understanding to know that how they got where they were or what they did to get there, they feel bad about that. So when they get there, it's not a good feeling. And so then they get confused, like, is this what life is really supposed to be? Is this what we're really supposed to be doing? Are we really supposed to be knocking other people down, stealing from other people, stealing what they have made, and we're taking it for our own, or just anything? For the love of money is the root of all evil. That has been taught for years and years and years, because it's true. The love of money, for the love of money is the root of all evil. So the love of money means you want money so bad there is nothing that you will not do to get it. We don't have, how people used to feel when they accomplished something and they, got it on their own, and with Jesus Christ's help, and they stayed on the right path. And so when they made it, it gave them a sense of pride and a sense of just a sense of I am somebody, and I know I did it the right way. And You can walk around and smile, and then if someone says, how did you get to, what you've done, and then you can share it with someone. People don't want to take the time anymore to become a real boss. They want to portray that they are one, or take what you have to make them a boss, or poison our community to make it big, and then degrade them after you've built them. So you've made these people the way they are, and then you want to say, if they weren't getting it from me, they were going to get it from someone else. Okay, true, but you still had a hand in it. You still had a hand in taking a child away from his mother, or a mother being unalive and the child never going to have a mother ever again, and for you to not even think about that, or you have to push that out of your head to justify that it's not you. I wasn't the one who brought these drugs into the community. I wasn't the one who dropped off guns into the community. I wasn't the one. Yes, but we could have been the ones who, once they dropped them off, we took them back to wherever they came from. Or once they gave us whatever the ingredients, we gave it back. But no, they were hoping that this lifestyle was worth giving up your people, your ancestors, your family, your friends, strangers. When one falls, they bring everybody with them, and we don't really understand. We just try to wipe it away. It's not our problem. They were addicts before I met them, and they were doing this before I even was old enough to jump off the porch. And so we can have many, many excuses for why we're not held accountable. And that's fine. That's what you want to believe. If that's what keeps you, if that's what gives you peace at night, that's fine. But you're not going to be able to escape the punishment that you're going to endure in the end. God said, for the wages of sin is death. And even if you are still here doing what you've done, and you've never went to prison for it, and you've never been caught, and you're living the life of the king, and you're the king dog, and people say your name from coast to coast, and you're still going to. God doesn't lie. He has what he says goes, and the wages of sin is death. And that's what's going to happen. So you can decide that, is it worth your eternal salvation to continue this type of life that you're living? Or would you rather live in peace and harmony and love? Because some of us don't even know what true love actually means. We don't know how it feels. We don't know if the person that tells you that they love you and that they're proud of you and those things, if that's really what it is. Because the world is so deceptive and cruel. People will tell you anything just to get what they want from you, or however. So you always have to be mindful and really seriously just think about, is this true? Is this real? Am I, am I really special to this person? Do they really care about what's happening in my life? And things like that. So, every time that you see a sign, because I want you to go through the Bible, because it tells you everything that will happen right before his coming. And when you go down the list, I don't think that there's too many things left. I actually don't think, other than the sky, the heavens, the moon, the stars, the sun, different things that are going to happen, even though we have had eclipse. The other things that are going to be coming, I really don't think that they have. And when people, that probably will be the end all, because people don't really get afraid until they see something that's not normal. So if you're, I've seen that there was people saying that the moon was out when the sun was out, and they got panicked about that. So when it's going to be something that you haven't seen and it hasn't been normal, that's when you're going to start thinking that this is true, that this is really going to happen. And what am I going to do? What should I do? And there's no other thing that you should do but to come to God. There's a man, is he in Africa? I don't know if he's in Africa, but he's putting out the word that Jesus is returning this month. And this is September. And this is September 16th. So we have a few more weeks. And yes, he's been told that, I'm assuming by the spirits, that Jesus is coming back at the end this month. He didn't say what date. He didn't say what time, just that he's coming back this month. He would be considered a false prophet, because we already know in the Bible, God did not tell anyone, not the angels, not the Son, not Jesus, no one knows the day that will happen but him. So if he's not even going to tell the angels or tell Jesus, why would he come to the earth and tell some random man that he's coming this month? Yeah, but it keeps people thinking, because I'm sure there's people running around here who believe that Jesus is coming this month. And so what will happen, because I'm pretty sure that this has happened before, I know it has happened before where men have stated that Jesus was coming on this day, that day, and then when it didn't happen, then they made up excuses of why it didn't happen. So what either people are going to do, the true people that know that men cannot tell you when Jesus is coming back because they don't know. But for those who don't really follow or really have gotten into worshiping God, it could give them a bad taste. It could turn them against what they're trying to find out. If you tell someone that you're a Christian and you're a man of God, and he gives you signs and he tells you things, and you tell them that he says he's coming back and he doesn't, what do you think that does to a person who's really trying to believe in the Lord and believe in his word? What do you think that's going to do to them? So once again, you must have a personal relationship with the Lord. You can't let someone else tell you what you need to do, what God can tell you. You can't let someone forcibly make you into or make you follow a religion that you don't really believe or you don't even know what it means. You can't let someone else take your life, your salvation, your ending and write the story for you, because that story is not going to end the way you want it to or the way it should have been. Study the Bible. Let him tell you what men in sheep's clothing sound like, look like, act like. Let him give you the Bible so that you know what's in it, so no one can tell you that tithe is 25%, or no one can tell you that you're supposed to give everything that you own to the church. And however you live, however you get by, God will provide. Don't let them tell you that it's okay for a pastor, 60-year-old pastor, to marry a 19-year-old girl. And it's okay because that's what they did in the Bible. And then they don't need for you to read the Bible because they're telling you that's what it said. Don't let them don't let them make you lose your salvation because you're looking for something just to be in your life, just to feel wanted in your life, or just to feel important in your life. God already knows you're important. And he's not going to steer you wrong. He's not going to tell you things that aren't true to steer you away from your happiness, your joy, and your salvation. Men will do anything and say anything to accomplish whatever they want, whatever they feel. If you're in a church and they are continuously telling you need to give all of your money to the church, and you probably have done that for 3 or 4 years, and something happens where you have to take your money and you have to save your house, and you have to tell your pastor that, see how he treats you. See how he reacts to that. Because God doesn't want you to be. There is nowhere in the Bible God said you have to live, you have to be, I'm going to make you an example of how I want my people to live. That means you have absolutely nothing. If you don't have a house, if you don't have food, if you don't have this and that, this is how I want you to live. That's not what he said. He said that your riches are going to be in heaven. So what that means, if you have a car and a house, that's fine. Those are the essentials that you need for your life. But he is telling you, you're thinking about getting a sports car or a car that you can't afford because you want to feel like you're somebody, or you want people to think you're somebody. That's not the right, that you can't afford it. You can't, it's not you. It's going to be destroyed. Pride is sinful. And he's offering you things that you've never ever seen in your life in heaven. All the things that down here on earth that you think are spectacular, or people say if you go to visit whatever, it's so beautiful and this and that. There is nothing on this earth that is going to beat or going to look like heaven. And I'm waiting for that day. So just choose, even if you're still undecided, and and you're a good person. You're a good person. You don't go around trying to hurt people or try to deceive people or take their money. You just have had some bad experiences with churches, or you've had some bad experience with being deceived, and God knows that. Just don't give up on him. The other people, you can let them go, because the first time they tell you something and it's not right, or the first time they treat you some type of way because you're not able to accommodate what they are needing right then and there, that lets you know what type of love that they're giving, or what type of life what kind of lifestyle. You don't come before them. And so when you ask God to please give you the clear mind and to understand who is for you, who is against you, when he tells you, I will never leave or forsake you, and once you've told other people, I'm not going to, my kids have been suffering because I've been giving all my money to the church, and I've been suffering, and you tell them that I'm still going to love God and serve him, but I can't keep you in new cars or give extra money to you so that you can live. See how quickly that you're going to be treated as the enemy. And then they don't want you around because they don't want you to spread that kind of evil and hate in their church. God said it's not going to be easy. Serving him is not going to be easy. But he also said he will not leave or forsake you. He will not let go of your hand if you won't let go of his. If you shut the door on him, he's still going to be waiting for you to open the door back up. He's not giving up on you like everyone else will. And so remember that. I I want to go, and I think I'm going to. There's a couple of books that I have purchased, and I want to start with the Ethiopian Bible because nothing was taken out of that, and so I want to see um, if we can read it and it makes sense. It just goes, it's flowing because there's nothing taken out. There's no, you don't have to guess what chapter or what words were taken out. And so I'm going to work on that. I encourage people who want to know certain things or are confused by certain things to ask about them. We can search them together or find the answer for you. Don't be afraid to want to know the truth. You can't, fully love God and trust Him and obey Him if you have questions that are bothering you and you haven't had any answers. So and I don't have all the answers. That's why I say if you put them there, we can look them up together. We can find out, the answers together and see whatever has been tearing you up inside if we can't get an answer to that. I also want to stress that politics does not belong anywhere near God's word. Politics has nothing to do with what God has promised us, what God has said is coming. It doesn't have anything to do with it. So we need to remove those things. We need to get those things from intertwining and focus. I focus on God's word. I know man's word is here because they have laws and you have to follow the laws, but I choose God's word first because God's not going to allow me to do anything that's going to be harmful to me or anyone else. So if I'm choosing God's law, which is love thy neighbor, help thy brother, be kind, always just everything positive, everything wonderful, everything beautiful, everything forgiving, which is hard, then you're able to not go out and jaywalk, because they have so many laws that make no sense, but it would be easy to follow those laws because what God expects you with His laws, and they're embedded in you. So if you don't want to be disappointing God, then that follows along. But people do it the opposite. Man's law comes before God's law, and that's totally opposite, and that's totally wrong. Man did not make this world. He did not breathe into your nostrils. Man did not create the 10 Commandments or to allow you to tell you what your life should be, how you're supposed to treat other people, and how you're supposed to maintain everything that God has shown you or told you in order for you to make it to heaven. No man can get you to heaven, not a judge, not a police officer. No one on this earth can put you in heaven. So I'm going straight to the source, and that's my master, and that's God. I don't need no middleman. I don't need nobody trying to get in my head and confuse me and tell me things that are not true, and and get me all full of doubt and things like that. So I just stick with the man that I know has never steered me wrong, has never left me when I was all alone and other people turned their backs on me and didn't care what I was going through. He stood by me day after day. So that's what I wanted to discuss today. I think I hit the point. I think I added some others. It's never right. It's never godly to take anyone's life, no matter what they say, no matter what they do. God will handle those who go against him. We don't have to defend God because he's the all defender. He defends us. So we don't have to get so upset that we're going to attack someone who we feel is saying things that are not true about God. God can show someone, if he wants to, he can write what he says, whatever he's saying, whatever is true, he can write it in the sky. People can see it. We don't need to defend God. There's nothing to defend. He's God, period, and no one can beat him. No one can destroy him. No one can outdo him. And that's just period. And what side are you going to choose? You have to decide that. You can't be on the fence. You can't choose him one day and decide that you're going to go over to the dark side another day because it's a little bit funner over there. You have to make a choice and you have to stay there. If you want to be on the devil's side, stay there. If you want to serve the Lord and be on the Lord's side, stay there. Because what you're going to do is you're going to be on the fence, and you're going to be lukewarm, and he wants you to either be hot or cold, and he's going to spit you out if you're lukewarm. So that's your choice to make, and I hope people can understand and make the right choices. I pray that everyone stays safe, makes good decisions, protects their peace, is aware of their surroundings, protect your children, and just ask God to give you the strength and the power to stand up for him, to stand up, stand up and believe and let people know that they cannot turn you around. And until next time,